Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ABA Progs into our 2029 season. This is our first season where we'll have all 40 teams have had their actual coaching roster and everything for the full season. I'm very excited for these Progs. There's a few notable free agents, but nothing real huge here. So just a heads up, this is being recorded like always. So if anyone else chimes in, they're aware that this will be uploaded to YouTube. Free agency is mostly highlighted right now. Before Progs by a few players, most notably former All-Star Charles Clark, former All-Star and third-team All-ABA Braden Good, and Travis Croce, who's the first player ever cut, and or first draft pick ever cut. All right, I'm just going to real quick make sure that we don't have any settings that would allow for CPU signing. I don't think nope, we're good. Okay. So, with that, we shall start on Anaheim. And actually, we'll start with free agents, and then we'll move to Anaheim. See if there's any crazy Progs here. All right, it's underway. Let's see.
Hello, YouTube. It's the ABA Commissioner Daniel here. I'm here with G Wood. Let's get into these Progs.
Hi, Daniel. All right.
Daniel,
You'll see.
leave, bro.
Jordan
waste you want.
Jones, he's really the big winner for Progs in free agency. Nothing major. Oh, hey, look, CK Big Turtle. Fun fact: he's named after a random Crusader Kings character. It's CK Big Turtle was the character's name, and then Peridot is just Paradox, but spelled slightly differently. The developers, Zach Lovelace, who had a really good season 2 years ago, is just dead in the water. Nothing crazy. I am curious to see Charles Clark down to a 43. He might be out of the league. Wow, that's unfortunate. I like that dude. It's actually really cool because I'm recognizing almost all of these guys from having been drafted before, like Ty Kaminsky here, Udonis Felix. I remember when Cody Calhoun cost Washington a championship. Anyway, we'll start with the first team here, and that is Anaheim, Hughes' team. They've been consistently good, but this offseason wasn't really too kind to them. Hassan Green has never really lived up to that huge prog that he had, and seeing him go down ain't really that great. Rahman going up is cool. Billy Baldwin going up is pretty clutch. And some of his prospects really developed, which is really good for his trading purposes. And we might be looking at potential Rookie of the Year candidate with Pavel. But Fleecer and his other two major caps, Powers, going down a bit. I don't know. I wouldn't be too concerned if I was Hugh. He did get a great prog from Darnell Brown, but these were not the progs that he should be looking for.
It's a miracle.
Oh yeah. Ramen is alive. He was yeah. All right. Next up here.
I would like to make a suggestion.
Yes, sir.
I think we should ban Hui from every league. So just to help with the parity, I think it would be better if we did that. Yes.
Here we go. They have the wrong logo. We'll change that today. Anderson Duffy, Harold Maven, with the grid prog, or with the non-down prog, McNamara with a good prog, and Stauskas. Honestly, I'd be a little disappointed with Stauskas. I thought he was going to be a lot better throughout his career, but he's kind of been a little disappointing. Oscar Willis, too. I mean, this is a team that has a lot of talent that just hasn't lived up to it. But if I'm them, I'm kind of happy with this because you got great prog by Gus Baker. He might also be a Rookie of the Year candidate. This was a pretty good draft class, but they definitely have the startings of a really solid core with Stauskas, McNamara, Maven, and Baker. And even whatever you get out of Willis, I don't know if you're going to get too much with him. We're going to go to our third team, but first, real quick, I'm just going to auto-sort the rosters. That'll make it a little easier on my end and for the mods. All right. Yeah, it moves Gus Baker all the way up to number 1. Next up is Atlanta. This is Daniel's former team. Daniel's here with us.
Yes, sir.
And we have Tracy Fiddler going up. Nolan Swaggy Young. I predict most improved player. My way too early prediction is going to be Swaggy X. I said this in a previous video on free agency. They're replacing a lot of value that left the team, and Swaggy Young has his first real big role. And when he's previously been asked to step up, he has. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But this team has the same problem they've really had. They don't have a true point guard, and they really are lacking at a true dominant center. And until I think they find that, I think they're going to continue to struggle. It is worth noting LeVar Ball did die, thank God. I don't think I could have survived if he progged well. That would have been just unfortunate.
Who's the GM of this team?
Miyake, I think.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Baltimore.
Okay, so
Vasilis progging. Now, this team is in a rebuilding, so Vasilis will probably be bought out at the start of the season, almost a guarantee. Aside from him, though, they're getting really solid progs from Gase, but I don't think they really expected much from. Picking up Dobbs is a solid pickup. Fab Melo progged, which is surprising. But these weren't really great progs, but this team is kind of starting from the bottom and building up. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. I think it's going to be interesting to see who puts up crazy stats on this team because somebody's got to do the scoring. I mean, Emmanuel Gauss could easily put up 20 points. And if Vasilis sticks around, he could be a 20-10 guy again. That brings us to Boston. Oh, yes. Dr. J gets another good prog.
Yes.
Oh my.
Dude, Boston is saved. Nedrod also prog good. Oh.
Yes.
Okay. So Julius Irving is going to be goated in Boston here, and I'm actually really excited. This is not just a playoff team; this is a legitimate contender now. They're deep. They have a lot of solid prospects to trade, the only downside is Francisco Castori died for the rest of your team's sins.
Oh my gosh.
Sammy, this is a really good offseason for you. You even got prospects with +10, a good role player going up +7. Doc Thomas and Dr. J basically set you up at a front court. You're set. You're good. All right.
I'd be interested in co-GM so I can get a ring, please.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Carolina here. Well, they're better than they were last season. But Michael Briggs just died in Progs. I mean, this is the only team that has 3 players that have been tenured for 10 seasons, I'm pretty sure. And I like this team a lot, but, they're old. Real old. And I don't know. Al Roberts is going to put up some good stats, but I don't know. I'm a little concerned. Al Roberts is also named after a player from one of my single-player campaigns here. He averaged 48 points per game or whatever and was just absolutely broken. I booted up the game, was going to do a let's play, and I was like, all right, I'll see how this goes. And then first simulation, Al Roberts was 60 points per game, 22 rebounds. And I was like, that's not realistic. And then I auto tested and was like, all right, am I ever going to actually have a chance as long as this guy's in the league? No. His teams were going 74 and 8, and the next best player was a 54. He was a 91 or 92 overall. It's crazy.
F in the chat.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Chicago. They need to fill out their roster. Fleecer said he was starting a rebuild. It's going to be interesting to see if he does here. Bad progs for Josh Gale and Kawhi Leonard. That's unfortunate. Julius King continues to slide. This is looking like they'll be contending for the first overall pick. Yeah, not much else to say there other than
who's pick I had this year?
All right, Cincinnati. I'm actually excited for these progs. We'll see.
No, I'm not excited.
I think the moment you saw them, you lost your excitement.
I mean, the people on my bench went off, but I mean, my starters got screwed. We're gonna have a Halenga carry and then a deep team, I guess.
Yeah, this is probably the deepest.
Give
This
me
is
Adam.
probably the deepest team that I've seen in Cincinnati
Yeah.
of the Billy era. And I'm not
I'm
gonna
known for
lie.
I'm known for my 5 deep teams.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. You had a team where you had 6 guys that were playing in the playoffs. Anyway, here we got Diedrich. I'm actually happy with that Prague. Oh yeah, it's nice to see him not do well. I'm just saying, I'm a little. Shaheen dying
Yes?
is not cool.
No.
And Morgan Barbara becoming a legitimate star is cool.
Crunchy.
Yeah, like super, like we didn't.
So next up here, we got Cleveland.
But it depends.
Give me one sec.
Hey, yo, whose mom's yelling at them?
That's David's. I took
Not
care of
me.
it. I took care of the
Bro,
situation. So here we got Cleveland. I don't know where Moda's been the last couple days, so we'll see if he gets back here. But not the
He's
Prague
been in
he
RBO.
wants to see. If I'm him, I'm kind of happy here because Taylor Touchdown Johnson could be a legitimate superstar. Yeah, Moss hasn't had a good Prague yet, but the dude puts up 20 and 10 every season. So I don't know. If I'm Moda, I look at these Progs glass half full, right? You got a lot of young talent that developed and is now worth a lot. And Taylor Johnson is a guy you can build around. And George Moss is consistent. So you really just need to add a couple more pieces and you're good. So that'll bring us to the next team here, which is Dallas. Trustis and McPherson in the same backcourt is going to be really fun. Wow. Where is Big and Chunky? Is he here? Because that is the Progs that you wanted to see. He might be now one of the most valuable caps in the league. Bernard Pulaski is also a cap, I guess. Is he also a cap? I actually don't know if he's a cap. Okay, he is. I'm being told he is. Do you know whose cap he is? Because he's now become probably a bigger name than Trustis. Bob the Bill. Oh, wow. He built a good cap. Good for him. Yeah, that's cool. Joe Johnson didn't die, which is cool, but Ray Washington did. But I think once again, Nico Fedev's team, this just keeps getting. It's the same team every year. Somehow they're always consistently in the playoffs, a contender, but not the favorite every season. And it's going to be really cool. This might be one the all-time greatest backcourt to play together. Not the greatest backcourt of all time, but you're looking at 2 incredibly high-caliber players.
Marcus McPherson died. Tough.
He has crashed. He was like a 74 when he left. When he was in his MVP triple-double season. And now he's down just a couple years later to a 63. But we'll see how he
F
goes.
in the chat.
Next up is Denver. Brian Weber going up, becoming more of a superstar.
Damn.
Oh no, my
Thank
potential.
God Provitt died. Oh my God.
My potential. Oh boy.
Thank God Provitt
That's
died.
sadness.
Let's go. Corone went down.
You don't need this. Denver is what Denver is.
I'm just
They're
kidding,
always
Didi.
a consistent underdog, but they do okay. It's nice to see Didi Prague up. Yeah, their championship.
Didi's
window is
better
couple
than
months.
Corone.
Worth noting, complete Fleesa, because Fleeser left the league and we made a player in his honor, and then he came back to the league and his player deserves to burn. All right. And with that, we move on to the next. Detroit Falcons. Wow, they had solid Progs here.
Talmadge should be on my team.
Onura died, but Taj Smith and Thunderbird are here to help out.
Oh my God, he's gonna win DPOY next year.
Nah, the Falcons are a good team with a good rating, but I don't think they're gonna be a contender.
I don't know. I right now, the top 2 teams I think we've seen in the East. I think the West so far, it's been Dallas and Anaheim. In the East, it's been Boston, Detroit, but we're not even halfway done yet. So I do think that Derek Jones not progging great could be problematic in a couple seasons. But this is a deep team with a lot of quality, and if Thunderbird becomes a legitimate superstar, because he was an incredible defensive player the last 2 seasons. Give me 1 second and pull up his stats here.
78 DIQ.
2.3 steals last season. And if he adds an offensive touch, which it looks like he has, I mean, he now is above 50 in every aspect of offense. This guy could be a legitimate superstar in a season. So I don't know. I'm pretty invested in this Detroit team. I think they're going to be really fun this year. And if they make 3 championships and lose, they will be the biggest meme in the ABA instead of Boston sucking after winning a ring. So
Do you have a team in this league?
me?
Yeah.
He did. He was Boston
I
for the
was
first 2
Boston
years.
for the first 2 seasons, New Orleans for the third. And then I transitioned to just doing commish stuff, which was originally my intention once we had enough stable owners. And after I left Boston, because I front loaded to win the first season. I front loaded. I went all in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a ton of active GMs. And then my assistant GM at the time, he was there to make sure that like the team was run like ethically and everything. He then asked me if he could have the team. And then there was an opening in New Orleans. And I was like, sure. And then I built the worst team ever in New Orleans and set that team up for disaster because I tried to go all in there and it did not work. J.R. McGee, Kobe, they were busts, but I didn't see it. And long story short, for like a decade, Boston basically just didn't exist. They made, I think, the playoffs once or twice after I left, which was unfortunate. The offseason that I left, they decided to start the rebuild by not re-signing a 69 overall. So, all right, to Edmonton. Tanner Giddings prog good, which is nice. Kobe's going to get his stats. That's really cool. Pierre's actually one of the best passers in the league. He's going to put up his stats. And Pierre, I'm pretty excited to see how he does.
Hey, what's
Yeah,
Tanner's
great.
injury? Was that like a draft thing?
Yeah. So Tanner starts with a broken leg. It's in his NCAA storyline, which you can check out on the Discord.
All right.
I am trading for Kobe.
I mean, I don't know if he'll trade Kobe, but Kobe is going to be pretty hyped this season. He might. I want to see if he puts up 40. I think he could do 40 a game.
Is Tanner going to be out next season too, or just this season?
Just this season. It should end like 30 games into next season. If I calculate it out right. It was supposed to be like Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Nerlens Noel type situation. And yes, I deliberately named only 76ers. The Sixers suck.
Deliberately.
All right,
Fuck the Sixers.
Flint is up.
Len Bias.
Ben Bias and Earl Monroe lead a very
Very bad team.
I think this team can win the chip, to be honest.
we actually might go back to Detroit in a second just because I think their GM will be joining the call. I want to see if this team can put up some really cool stats and
Bro, Detroit
real
is
tall.
so front loaded on contracts. Like, isn't it Talmadge and Honor on like 73 million?
it is what was the question?
I think Talmadge, Smith, and like Jacob Honor are like 73 million.
Yeah, I'll pull that up right here.
Huge
So
contracts.
looking at back at Detroit, you can see that they had pretty solid progs, but they are a very front-loaded team. I mean, basically, fortunately, Onura expires at the end of this season. I hope they don't do him dirty and trade him to try to win a chip, because like dude's given it his all. He's been there 10 seasons. This is probably their last chance with him. And then afterwards, I think they're set up okay. They'll probably have to move on from these three, but with Smith and Thunderbird, they have a legitimate duo. And they also have a Six-Man of the Year candidate I didn't really realize in Richard Williams. And I also want to see Sterner get a ring. There's a lot of players on this team that deserve a ring. I mean, Jerry Trecker and Tommy Hawthorne have been ring chasing for a couple seasons. So I think this Detroit team will probably be one of the top 2-3 teams in the East. So going back on, we had the Flyers up. They're actually a really weird case. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. they're fairly solid at every position, but they're not great at any position. They're just solid. And, I think that if they add a couple players, they could be good.
$18 million contract and a 49 overall.
Yeah, I
Ouch.
believe they got him in a cap dump, or in the expansion drafts. I forget which one. I think it was expansion.
Oh yeah, it was expansion.
But this isn't a horrible team. But they do need some work. I think that Colin Thompson and Gooden are definitely guys you can build around. I'm glad that Barnes didn't prog bad because his contract would be just ridiculous then. And Mike Prince was a great addition. I'm a fairly solid fan of his. So I like the fact that they have 4 really solid players they can start. They just need to add a really good shooting guard. Well, actually, more of a point guard. Barnes is kind of a hybrid. Willie Nelson is not that guy in my opinion, but we'll see how this team does. I'd predict probably 8th, 9th, or 10th seed. Hawaii is up. They're one of my dark horse contenders this year. This is a great duo.
Ooh.
Might be the best backcourt duo in league history. And then off their bench, they're deep. Zion JJS might be the worst statistical player in the league, but we'll see if he can do anything with a slightly
Let's go.
positive
He
throw.
might be getting close to 20 free throw.
Yeah, he might hit 20% free throw. Oh, so, I mean, this team has the 2 worst statistical free throw shooters in league history. Oh my God. Late game, if there is any hack-a-shack team, it is the Hawaii Hurricanes. All right. Oh, hey, look. Conky Fedov, prog good. That's hype. Threes, this guy did not prog good. He's probably going to leave the server. Damn.
Like he normally does.
Yep. Yeah. Like periodically it happens. Alan Johnson's alive again. He had miserable couple seasons. Even in the league last year, he played 45 games. He is barely in the league for this entire stretch. He got cut, I'm pretty sure, at one point. And he's had some.
Yeah, I think he got cut by
Milwaukee.
us, Milwaukee. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they gave him a mid-contract as well. And he averaged 2.7 steals, and that one season saved his career. The only reason he still was on a team in 2027 was because of that one great season where he looked like he was a defensive prodigy. So, all right, on to the next team. This team's probably going to be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the West. Oilers. Oh, wow. They're a contender. So this was a team that did not need good progs. They had already had good progs last year.
Darko.
M Process is out here bribing the prog gods. Wait, do they have the second Muse Adams? Yeah, they have the second Muse Adams, basically. This guy is not a traditional big man, or not a traditional point guard. He's a pass-first guard. That's crazy. That is exactly what they needed him to be. This is just a really crazy good progs. I mean, even if their bench died, Drazen, Darko, Tricky, Luca, even Hugh gets good progs as a cap. Hugh, you're not allowed to rig Sims anymore.
I didn't see Anaheim's progs. I'll see it at the end, though.
It's not a coincidence.
Yeah. All right, we go on to the next section. Sorry, someone started my domain. All right, Kansas City. They might finally be alive. They've had a rough few seasons, a really rough few seasons.
Oh, Kevin Hart, no.
Kevin Hart made it into the league. Okay, give him that.
We prog down.
But they have a really solid 4 here. If I am KC, I'm excited. For the first time in a while, they are legitimately a piece away. And I just want to note, if they move Kevin Hart and JP Jones, they have a max slot. They legitimately would be a perfect home for a 68-73 or something next offseason. We'll do a preview of the next offseason before we pop off this.
Yeah, they need to make a trade and it'd be good.
Yeah, they're a trade away from a contender. This brings us over to Kentucky, which was a contender last year.
Damn.
Progs did not want them to be a contender this year.
All right, come on, Ryber, please. Please prog
my
up
cap-
so we have a
my
so we have a
cap
second
just vibing.
playmaker, please.
Calvin Lee is still in the league. Forrest Morris is still in the league. They're pretty memey.
My cap is just
prog down. This is a pretty rough off season, if I'm being honest, for them. Billy might put up some decent stats, but if I'm Kentucky, you just had a worst case off season. Sorry, not.
Ouch.
Yeah. Cool. Next team we go to will be Lancaster. Neil Thomas having a great prog. Fun fact about Neil Thomas: we have two co-GMs, and they hadn't done anything together. And their first conversation was about putting Neil Thomas in untouchables because they had no interest in trading him because he was the best thing about their team they agreed on. And, yep, that has continued. He is still the best thing about their team. Guzman was a nice pickup. I think this team could be okay. I think that it's going to be interesting if they get anything out of CJ Evans. But I don't think they're a particularly bad team. They're going to compete probably for the 10th seed. But the big thing to notice here is they have Neil Thomas.
90 million cap space.
Yeah, I was about to say,
not a million, like
Neil
70.
Thomas is signed cheap next season. Guzman expires, and they can probably re-sign him for less than $10 million. They're going to have almost $100 million in
We're
cap
gonna have
space.
two max contracts, another 30 million.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. All right.
It's insane.
Las Vegas's logo is also wrong. We have to get those changed. Okay.
Plus 15.
They had some good progs. I'm glad that we live streamed that because I don't know if I've ever seen a plus 15 in multiplayer before.
All right. Well, it looks like that 2027 draft looks pretty good now.
Yeah.
I've seen a plus 20.
Literally,
prog with
everybody is
LeBron.
progging up from that draft. That we've seen.
77th pick.
That I've seen.
77th pick in 2027. Now he's a 56, 62.
Yep. And Jalen progging up is exactly what they need. I'm telling you, Vegas won 70 games, and now they have a healthy Noel. Like, this team might, like, they literally lost nothing in the offseason. They just got, like, sure, some of their deep bench guys progged down, but, like, this is like a 72 to 76 win team. I probably just inserted my foot into my mouth, but this team could be really good. All right. Mexico City.
All right, we're getting up to Milwaukee. Can you say that we're not contenders so we can actually contend this season? Because every time we say something, we always end up losing.
Everything I say goes false. Come on. Haven't you been paying attention? I don't think I've ever made a single correct ABA prediction.
Yeah.
They just had really bad progs. This is not a good off season for them. Fortunately, most of their contracts expire in 2 years, but they're now entering a rebuild, unfortunately. Elias, if we had amnesty, I would say Elias is an amnesty guy. Randy King is probably in that same category. They're like, oh, this is just a disaster progs. I mean, this is a progs where we lose GMs. Yeah, that's a rebuild. Okay. Next up is Miami. They lost a lot of talent in the offseason. Like, a lot. They needed good progs. McPherson Thompson progging good is really important to them. And Kosher and Blaze are their future.
Yeah, I feel like the most important prog here is Axel Blaze. Like, they really need it.
They really needed the added depth, but they also needed the franchise centerpiece. But realistically, this team has a major cap problem, But the thing is, they're also a really solid team. If only Max Adams had Prague good, this team would have been insane last year. But this is definitely a top 3 team in the East. We'll see if they are able to win anything this year. Congrats again, B. Kinney, on your championship last season. I think B. Kinney's still here. Yeah.
No, Jay Kumar doesn't matter. He Prague down. He's still gonna average 15 points.
All right. Next up is Milwaukee. Milwaukee is not a contender this
Yikes.
year. All right.
Yikes.
Steve Rice continues to decline. He has not had good progs since he signed his big deal.
Rigged.
Todd Jackson going down. Ayo staying the same though. Ayo.
Why couldn't Rye go up at least one?
Rye's
like,
just looking like a
come
colossal
on.
bust. Not good off season. The thing is, I think Youngberger Patty is a tremendous GM, and Todd is probably one of the top 2 or 3 caps in the league. But this team is just consistently getting bad progs or unlucky breaks with contracts and such.
All right, there we go. Thomas Smith gets DPOY this year. Damn.
All right. Next up is Minnesota, and they had some really good progs here. Massenet and DeBerry both look like they could be a really solid backcourt duo. Palmer progging down is not what they wanted to see, but with Chris Tapps and Gaddy, I think they're okay. Oh, hey, speaking of the devil, Rahman is joining just as we get to his team. That's pretty lit. Good timing, dude. Here you'll see your progs. Oh my God, Alec Kotev progged up. Oh, he might be the luckiest progging cap. Like, I don't know. Actually, Big and Chunky progged pretty good. Yeah. But there you go, Ramen. You're also worth noting your cap also progged up. Montreal. Okay. So there's been progs that have changed the league. Miami had some good progs last season.
What is this?
Don't play with me.
This is not called good progs. This is called Michael Jordan progs.
Let's
LeBron James progs.
How much cap they have?
fucking go.
Yo, what?
You already know what's
You
going
gotta
on.
be kidding me.
You already know what's going on. Oh my
That contract is so broken.
They're going to have – oh, my God.
Don't play games with me.
Oh, you have to be kidding me.
They don't have a single bad contract on their team.
Oh,
What is this?
yes, sir.
Bro, he has 50 million in cap space.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
I'm
Alright,
so glad I joined this league.
this is what happens when you Venmo me. I don't know how.
I
All right,
didn't
if
know that was
Urban
an
Miles
option.
doesn't win a ring in the next 3 seasons, you have failed as a GM.
Oh, I promise you.
He has a $5 million cap hit, and he's a top 3 player. Like, the league is not
Oh,
balanced.
Yeah,
All right.
this league's interesting.
Wow, wait, scroll down. Let me see the other players.
Doesn't matter. You have a
Wow.
72 overall.
Yeah.
$5 million cap.
Who am I cutting?
I mean, I would say, like,
The
Thunder.
39-45.
And
Bro.
Sean Cook.
Yeah,
Hey, bro, all you have to do is make it to the finals and Greg Oden comes back.
this is true.
My boy.
All right. Next up here is New Jersey.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
Good
there's
props for them,
100.
too.
Okay.
Uh,
So
Oh
103
my
rating.
God, Bill
Yikes.
Russell.
they're probably going to win the East.
Oh, man.
I mean-
103.
They had some
Montreal
good frogs.
versus
Bro.
Dude, all right. So whoever gave them all of those picks, I don't even remember what the trade was, but somehow New Jersey got a ridiculous amount of picks.
I'm still trying to figure out why we traded Jake King. Kind of forgot.
Jake King, he was traded for a package, like a big package.
Yeah, I think they all regressed or we traded him away.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. Yes, you traded Jake King for Alan Johnson and Javoris Mablin.
Oh my
That trade looked
god.
a lot better back then when Maybelline was like basically on par with
It
King.
looked better, and then Jake King had God Progs.
Yeah, Jake King's had like he looked like he was going to be a bust.
Yeah, and he was on our team. He wasn't really that good. They
Like,
traded him, and
yeah, I think
our players regress. He progresses. Unlucky.
yeah, I don't know. It's not the end of the world. Let me see what his Jake King's ratings had been.
He was like a 62, I think, when he was on our
So he was
team.
drafted super raw,
Yeah.
and he basically looked like he was going to bottom out because I think he was a 63 when you guys traded him.
Yeah.
Looked like he was not really going to go anywhere, and then just became a god these last season. I think he averaged like 4 steals a game. Yeah, 4.3 steals a game.
4.3. Okay.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And he
For
popped
Context,
up.
this is incredibly rare. I think he averaged almost double the next highest amount of steals. He's just
See, I would have averaged that. You decreased my defensive IQ.
yeah. So here we go to
All right. Well, I have to go test some now. I have to
Uh,
wait for the X for it.
New Orleans Buccaneers, and they're going to be really fun this season. They have a great front court. D-Berry did prog down, but David McGillen Jr. and Apex Penny.
Bro, what are these progs? All the good players got like +9.
It's been a very strange progs. Incredibly weird. Like everyone's extremely one way or another. And this front court is going to be really good. They just need to add some bench, and a guard. Like they literally have their primary ball handler is Charlie Benoris or Aldo Anthony. Like they need, yeah. All right.
All
Next
right. Well,
up,
we also need one as well.
New York. They have Kurt Anthony, who is one of the top picks in the draft, and they're probably going to get another top pick next season. Amazingly, this Darren Unsled contract, this is the first year it really looks bad. Prior to this, it just looked okay.
So much cap space.
Hey, Jay Dodio is joining. That's exciting. This is going to be a very interesting season for them, but I think Kurt Anthony could be really great. New Jersey requests take a quick look at their team instead of talk about Jake King. So instead, we will take a look at their team and admire their incredibly broken progs that they got this season. I don't know which one of you guys snitched on me, but one of y'all did. Oh, never mind. It's the one that's very clearly labeled New Jersey Bear Fighters. Yeah, that better be all you need. I'll read you progs on you. All right.
Oh yeah, remember when they were saying that you guys picked Julius Irving over Wilt? Yikes.
Yeah.
7.
Hitler progged up. If he's given a big enough opportunity, he could be a real star.
Oh, let's go. 8 more turnovers a game.
Lonzo could also be good. Yeah, I'm saying if he can stay in his role, he might have. These aren't actually that bad progs. This team's significantly better than it was last season. They're just really thin. Like they actually got a good prog from Carmelo. And Hitler might average like 6.1 turnovers a game, and that'll help
8.
you.
Let's go.
All right. Next up is Providence. Kendall Wilcher going down. That's not good. But Blockout Hawthorne going up is pretty much what you wanted to see. Bruce Gregory going down and Benzo. This is called I believe the colloquial term is dumpster fire.
This is a yikes.
The big contracts did not go the way you want them to. Good news is Blockout has a lot of value right now. Peyton Washington and Jeremy Mitchell, I think, have a decent amount of value. But Wilcher, good thing he's in the last year of his deal. Yeah. Oh, and somehow Yami is listed as the starter. No idea.
One overall
They have no guards on their bench. They don't have a guard on their bench.
That is why. They have.
Oh wait, he's the only pure guard.
He is the only guard on their team.
Technically, Bruce Gregory did play the point guard when he was in Utah. So, yeah. Or, no, shooting guard when he was in Utah. All right,
He knows what he's doing. Just throw him in.
San Diego. I do want to note, Steve Rice, former San Diego star, just literally got killed in Progs. So San Diego fans have that. They also have the fact that this actually isn't a horrible team. This is actually a really solid team. This starting four is
Why is
really
like
good.
the worst bench in the league though?
Yeah, they need to work on their bench. And I'm not even gonna lie, Gary Beasley is second all time in assists. This is a contender if they can add some depth. This is a Cincinnati situation. Get yourself a bench. You got some cap room to work with. Just don't Cincinnati it. You actually need a bench. You will not make the playoffs without a bench.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't Cincinnati it. You want to actually have cap space as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
Cincinnati doesn't have cap when we have a thin bench, though. That's the problem.
Here we go. San Francisco. These aren't bad Progs. This is probably a middle of the road playoff team, 6th or 7th seed. Keep in mind we're up to 10.
No, all the good players are getting old.
They're an older team, but Buckner will get his stats. Riley is productive, so we'll see.
All of the old good players are just expiring this season, or most of them.
All right.
All right,
Yeah,
I have
they're
to go.
finally getting out of their bad contracts. They had some really bad ones. So
I have to go, but I would like to make an announcement before I go.
hey, yeah.
All right, remember to join RBL. Thank you.
Little quick Daniel ad. For the record, RBL is a great server, and if you're looking for a really competitive league, my recommendations would be Exodus, RBL, or DBL. But there's a lot of options. If you're looking to learn the game a little bit more, my recommendation would be ABA or JBBL. There's a lot of options though. So next up, we go to Seattle, and Dick Hopkins, not a bad pro. Pitts just continues to not age.
What?
Bro, what?
He's 42? What are you
42
What the fuck?
goes up. Okay.
He holds like most of the league's records in like every category.
42 goes up. All
Yeah,
right.
you can tell. His contract is, he'll never have a bad contract in his career.
42 goes up, but 28 goes -4. Yikes.
Yeah. This was actually not a bad Progs. Julian Clarkson, who was recently abandoned by Cleve, unfortunately. This is a solid team. This might be the most well-rounded Seattle team we've seen in the Pitts era, and we have yet to see a really broken Western Conference team. We've seen New Jersey, which was great in the East, but we haven't seen a really dominant Western Conference team.
We
So I
already
think this
know.
team will
We
be in
already
the
know
running.
pitch physical stats. They're all like 0, 0, 0.
Let's see. 0, 0, 0.
All he got is height and strength.
Wow. Pitts is like
42.
I can't walk, but I can shoot a basketball.
23 years in the league. What a champ. Almost 4 decades.
Next up brings us to St. Louis. Oh, the
Plus
cursed
14.
franchise. But Felipe Santos.
Felipe Santos.
Hey!
The meme.
Felipe Santos is the biggest meme in the league. I mean, somebody get this man's photo out there.
Felipe Santos. Wait, that's the fake one. What about the retired one?
No, this is real Felipe Santos. Retired Felipe Santos was the fake one. We had to do extensive research.
Oh, Huey had him. That's why he progged well.
Tampa Bay.
Plus 14.
Hey,
Ooh, plus 18.
Plus 18. Oh my god.
Is Hugh still here?
Yeah, he just
he's
said that.
Hey,
He
Hugh,
said
can
he
you do me a favor? Can you ban Kyle in this league and message Lex? Apparently Kyle just did something. I'll add it over to BCC in a few minutes. But apparently he started doing some inappropriate stuff. So if you could ban him, that'd be cool. If you need his information, I'm sure somebody over the BCC has it.
What the fuck did he do? Hold on.
I don't know.
I'll ask him.
Yeah. But apparently he's getting community banned. So I have no idea. let's go back to the Tampa Bay Titans that had some really good progs here. I actually thought they were going to be a playoff team last year. I don't think they quite made it, but like I'm looking at this team, and this is definitely a playoff.
They're 10 deep.
Yeah, they're deep. They have quality, and John Stoltz is a quality player, so we'll see
That's
how that
tough.
goes.
Terrence Foster. I remember when he was actually good on my team.
Dude, he's so bad now. Like, oh,
I'm so
He had
confused.
70
Why did he
potential.
get banned?
He
I
had
have to
70
figure this out
potential when I
now.
got him.
I
I
have to
thought
wait
I
for him
won
to
that trade. I traded one first for him,
GC.
I think.
we'll go back and take a look at that in a second. These were
Huh.
not great progs. Like, with the exception of Childs and Ball, these are really bad progs for Toronto.
Yeah.
A really bad offseason, unfortunately, though I
Well, he
like the
got
pickup
banned
of
for being
Pittman.
toxic to Ricky.
What's up?
He got banned for being toxic to Ricky.
That's pretty funny.
Interesting.
Didn't know that could happen, but cool, not a problem. Sorry, this community ban is what it is. Don't behave like an pardon my language. Don't behave like an asshole. You won't get treated like an asshole. So,
Huh.
um,
I gotta figure this out. He's probably in basketball team.
I didn't even see that plus 16, plus 11, too.
Oh, who is that?
When was he banned? Like, okay,
Someone on the
wait,
bench.
multiplayer discussion.
I'll take a look in a
How much
second.
did I get for Foster? When was he
Foster
on Cincinnati?
was first round pick, a role player, second round pick. I think Owens was like a 54 at the time, and Anthony had some potential. So 2 firsts and 2 prospects for Foster.
All right.
You said that there was another
I
really
can't
big
find
bench
anything.
prog?
Yeah,
What is
go
this?
down.
Oh wow.
Plus 16,
Wow.
Andrew Gilly.
That's not bad. That's really good. They had
600K.
Yeah, they have some really good contract values for next season. And that can actually be a lot if a team like them is looking to contend and a superstar becomes available and they offer Gigley and Brown in exchange for them, they might be able to get them because those are 2 really solid prospects. So next team up is
Yeah.
Toronto. We already did, and that brings us to Utah. They're the Western Conference powerhouse. JJ is back. And right here off the bat, we have bad prog for LeBron, but good progs for Ginn, who might be the best player on the team, or Petrie, or this is such a strange Utah team. The only player left from their championship, like constant contending years from before they won that ring, is Walker Chan. Jaden might be 6th man of the year here. Honestly, you might have to start him over Rodney Robinson. They replaced Trustus really well. And off the bench, they have a bunch of veterans that play above their overall. A really good offseason for Utah. All right. Next up is Vancouver. They got the good progs from Eustace, and they got the horrible progs from Banks. Banks might be the most overpaid player in the league now. I think he was really a product of the system. I know that seems weird for BBGM, but we'll take a look here. And if you notice, when his team is good, which he's had for the majority of his career, he puts up crazy stats. But as his team's gotten worse, because in their good seasons, they had 2 really good seasons. He was a 19 and 13 guy, put up crazy good stats. In his bad seasons, when the team isn't as performing, he drops off a lot. And I see this year as being a really big drop off because this is the worst Vancouver team in a long time. The only real good thing about it is that they got Sam Eustace, who may as well win MVP this season. Last season, before this good prog, he averaged 25 points per game. He might be able to get that to 30. He might be the best player outside like Owens in the scoring standpoint. So yeah. Next up is I think the last team, Washington. Josh Wade might have his comeback season, his second MVP season. He prog really good and is by far the best player on a weird Washington franchise that just never really reached the. I thought this team was going to be godly when they first brought Wade in, but they haven't really lived up to that potential. Yeah, it's just we'll have to see how it goes. But a lot of busts here. I mean, Nathan Wilson, Jara Azaria, Kyle Livingston. These were all supposed to, even Dusko were all supposed to be really big players for them and never hit their potential. Even Alexis there, they just got killed. So we're going to go take a real quick look at the league's power rankings. And here you'll see Eastern Conference probably looking like it's going to be a 3-way, maybe 4-way race. Western Conference, and yes, I did have Boston in there, and yes, I am incredibly biased towards Boston. Utah, Anaheim, Las Vegas, Houston. I give Dallas and maybe Seattle will be the teams in the West. And then in terms of
And
where
what happened to our team? Are we like bought like number? Oh, it's number 17. All right.
I would say,
Well.
for context, the playoff cutoff is around this area. I do want to note the sales should be much higher, but it's because their bench is thin. So, anyway, guys, I'm end the recording there. And thank you guys for popping in, and then we'll just keep the chat room open for a few more minutes.